Welcome to Unbreakable Latina. Hi guys, welcome back to Unbreakable Latina. This is your host Melina. I hope you're having an amazing day and you had a great week and a great weekend. If I sound a little different or my voice is a little too sexy, it's because I'm sick again. I have a cold. Thankfully, it's not COVID because I've been testing every day, but I do have a cold. All I have is like a cough and congestion, so bear with me in my deep ass voice. This week I went to my first official Pilates class and I was really impressed with myself because I could hang with the rest of the people, and the instructor only corrected me a couple times and she's like, okay, you're doing great, whatever. And I'm like, hell yeah, I got this. It's not that hard. Like, I still got it in me. And I say that because I used to do like workout classes that were difficult, and I did jiu-jitsu, so you use a lot of flexibility, a lot of core workout. But I haven't done that in a while. My usual routine at the gym is like go on the treadmill and then lift weights, and nothing really crazy. But I was like, I didn't do so bad. So I signed up for Thursday as well. Thursday came around and work was crazy. So towards the end of the day, I was like, I don't want to go to Pilates. Like, I just want to go home and like go in my cave and not talk to anybody or not go anywhere. So I tried canceling the classes, but you have to cancel like 2 hours before the class, and it was just right at the cutoff time. So it was like, you can't cancel, you're still gonna get charged. And the fitness gods were like, you better get your ass to Pilates. So I did go to Pilates and I was like, okay, I got this. So they started telling us how to like set up our bed or whatever. And the first workouts, I'm like, okay, I got this. Still good. And let me tell you guys, it was so hard on Thursday. And it wasn't because I had a bad day. Like, the girls, all of them were struggling. Like, me and this girl made eye contact and I was like, I'm dying. And she's like, me too. So I felt like I didn't feel alone. I felt like we were all dying together. And it focused a lot on core workouts this time. Last time it was more like a little bit of everything, but this time it was just like core. And I was dying. It was so hard. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'd keep paying for this. No, but I have like 3 more classes left in the package that I got. So I'm thinking that I might just do it like once a week because it's still a good workout, but it's expensive. Pero a ver cómo sale. Like, I'll do the calculations and see if it's worth it, or try another Pilates studio and see which one I like better. But this one's the closest to my house, so it makes sense. The times work out perfectly. But yeah, if you're thinking about Pilates, you should definitely go. It's really a challenge. You'll definitely sweat. You'll get your workout in. So the other day, I posted on my Instagram story that I was walking at lunch. I was walking to my car from my office, and one of my coworkers saw me going to my car, and he's like, where are you going for lunch? And I was like, oh, my car. And then he's like, why? And I'm like, because I hate everybody. And then he looked at me funny and I got really embarrassed. And I was like, oh, I have to go run errands. I have to go to the post office. But I was like, why did I get embarrassed? Because he found it so strange, because everybody at work kind of eats together. Like, here and there are some people that do eat alone, but a lot of people do congregate together. And I'm the total opposite. Like, I'm like, I need my solo time because all morning I talk to everybody and that's like my me time. So next time someone asks me, I'm not gonna be embarrassed. I think I just got embarrassed because it's someone that I like doesn't know me. So I was like, when they gave me that weird look, I was like, I'm going to the post office. But I posted it on my story and like so many people were like, I did the same thing. Like, I love eating lunch in my car by myself in silence. And I'm like, great, I'm not the only weirdo. So shout out to my fellow solo lunch antisocial people, because we stand together. My sleeping schedule has been so messed up. Like, I think I'm finally getting back into the rhythm of things, because after I had COVID, like, I was off work and I just was going to sleep at like 12 and waking up like at 9, and it was just like ridiculous. And my usual old lady schedule is go to sleep by 10 and wake up every day by like 5 or 6. So I've been having trouble going to sleep because my mind's just going like 3,000 miles per hour, like always. And I had bought melatonin a couple months ago because I was having the same issues. So the other day I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pop a melatonin because I need to sleep. Like I am so tired and like I can't go to sleep and there I am. I know it's bad, but I'll be scrolling on TikTok and just like doing dumb shit. Like not even anything productive, nomás de lela. So I took melatonin like at around 8 and like let me tell you, girl, by 9 your girl was like ready to go to sleep. So I slept so good. I felt so rested, and if you're having trouble sleeping, I suggest you pop a melly. Something I learned this week is that when you're being a cheap little bitch, you end up paying double, and the emotional damage is the worst. But I need work clothes. And I went thrifting the other day. I did find a couple things, but I needed more like shirts. I needed short sleeve shirts because all my shirts are long sleeve. I work in an office, so I need to look a little decent, a little office wear. And I can't wear my crop tops to the office. So I decided to place a big order at Shein. I know, I know. I should have known, but sometimes I've gotten really lucky and gotten some nice things. But the last few times that I've ordered, I've returned almost everything. But I was feeling, positive, and I saw some like people posting on TikTok of Shein hauls. So I was like, it can't be this bad. So I placed this huge order. I get it the other day, and somehow it clicked to expedited shipping, and I couldn't unclick it. If I went back, then it would delete like my whole cart. So, anyways, I paid for it. I put the coupon code, whatever. They got here after dinner. I started opening the package, and my mom was like, "Oh, a ver qué agarraste." So I'm like, "Oh, look at this." And everything I tried, like I got blazers. It looked like it was my Tio's blazer, like from the 1960s. It was so ugly, and the shirts were like too long, too short. It was just terrible. I kept like 2 things out of like 16 things. Don't be cheap and go buy real clothes, Melina. So lesson learned. I'm not gonna shop from Shein anymore. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know how you guys find stuff, but I read the reviews and everybody was fucking lying. So don't believe them. And then I wanted to treat myself to a new perfume because mine are kind of low, and I've had this perfume that I used to wear all the time that I wanted again. But I was like, I don't want to spend $100 and something. So I found it for like $60 on a website online. So I get the perfume, and it's a Dolce & Gabbana perfume. And I open it and I spray it. It smelled like the perfume. Puro alcohol. Puro alcohol. I was like, that's what I freaking get. So I'm returning the clothes, I'm returning the perfume, and I'm gonna make myself drive to Macy's and get myself the real one because I learned my lesson. Being cheap sometimes costs you more. So I lost some money in the Shein because you have to pay to return the stuff. But the perfume, thankfully, I'm not gonna lose any money. And I was just like, that's what I get for being cheap. Yesterday, I ended up going to the store to actually buy some clothes for work. And I did find a couple things, but I was trying on stuff. And why is sizing for women all messed up? Like, do you guys think men also have these same issues? Because I have a brother and I have uncles and cousins. When I buy them clothes, they're always like a large, they're always a medium, they're always that size. But with women, it's like, am I going to be a size 27? Am I going to be a 28? Am I going to be a 29? Am I going to be a large? Am I going to be a medium? Am I going to be a small? It's so freaking annoying. It's exhausting. Like, I hate shopping for that reason. And for that reason, I love going to the thrift store because, like, I don't get disappointed when it doesn't fit because it's like, okay, it wasn't meant for me. There's only one piece that looks like this in the whole store. But when I go to the store and I try on clothes, y nada me queda, like something like, oh, because I have hips, like it's hard for me to find certain things, like, and then at the top I'm kind of smaller, so I'll get something that's medium and then it won't go up my hips, and then I'll get something that's large and it'll be too large on top, and it's just so annoying. I carry Liquid IV everywhere I go, and they're always in my purse. So whenever I open one, I always share with whoever I'm with, and I get them hooked. If you're looking to try it, or if you need to restock your pantry with your Liquid IV packets, they are giving my listeners 25% off plus free shipping when you go to liquidiv.com and enter code unbreakable_Latina. Once again, it's liquidiv.com with code unbreakable_Latina. This weekend I hung out with my mom and my sister, and it's been such a great weekend because we haven't been able to get together like this in a long time. Like, we've seen each other, but not just the three of us, and it's like a different dynamic because we all clown on each other and it's so much fun. When my sister showed up, she showed up in the same exact outfit that I was wearing. And this happens all the freaking time. Does this happen to you guys with your sisters? But it was funny because I was like, I'm not changing. She's like, I'm not changing either. And I'm like, oh, well, we're going to be twins. And I felt like everybody kept staring at us everywhere we went. So we decided to eat mariscos, and we went to Mariscos El Compa de Mazatlan. It's located in Riverside in Jurupa Valley, and look it up on Yelp. It's delicious. It's the freshest seafood you'll get around this side of town. Then after that, we ended up going to the Riverside Food Lab because we wanted to get some beignets and some drinks. So we went there and we ended up at Mi Vida Gorda, and they had delicious palomas, and my mom got a tall can because she's a gangsta, and then my sister got, I forgot, oh, like an agua fresca. I forgot what it was called, but it was an agua fresca con tequila. Delicious. 10 out of 10 for drinks. We didn't have any food there, so next time we'll go try the food. And we went for the beignets, but we ended up like getting full, and then my sister was like, oh, I want to go to Juju Bar because she's obsessed with Juju Bar. She went to UCR, so it's near UCR, so we just drove up there and we had Juju Bar, and she's right. It's just different because there's one in Newport and it doesn't taste the same as the one in Riverside. So we went there and we ended up at Ross like we always do. Came home, watched some movies, and did a late night run for pizza. So it was just nice to hang out. And today my sister said, yeah, I'll record a podcast with you. And homegirl's still sleeping, or she's laying down, but I don't want to wake her up because she's like been working really hard and she just got over COVID. So I just want to let her rest. So I decided we'll record later with her, but I decided to record on my own because I had been planning to do this episode at some point, and I thought it was appropriate because I get this question asked a lot, and people ask me like, how did you move on from a long-term relationship, and what got you through, and what got you not to go back? And on Friday, it's been 2 years since I started my self-love journey, and it started when I left the last relationship I was in. So I was like, how appropriate. And let's normalize celebrating anniversaries of big life events that change. And even though they weren't the best at that time, like, you reflect back on the person you were 2 years ago. I remember 2 years ago, I was broken. I felt lost. I felt like I had wasted so much time. And I remember going on my calendar on my phone and putting in an entry on my calendar that said last day of toxicity, the day I ended everything. And I think it was to keep myself accountable. And it's funny to think back on it because I'm like, why would I think of that? Like, that's the first thing that popped in my head. But I think I was just so determined to get out of that situation, and so like, I'm not looking back. Like, this is it. And if you go back, like, you're dumb. And I think sometimes you just need to give yourself tough love. Like, I gave myself such tough love that time because I was like, you ended up here for the reasons that you accepted certain behaviors, and everybody kept telling you to leave, and now it's your problem and it's your job to get over it. If you haven't listened to my toxic relationships episode, it's episode number 3. And if you want to go there first and listen to that so you could understand like my whole journey, or go back and forth, whatever, I'll link it below. But when I walked away, I had no plan. I literally said, I'm ending this, and like, I have to come up with a plan within the next couple of weeks. I even gave myself like weeks, like and I just kept saying like, it's gonna be fine, like, I don't have to tell anybody, because I was embarrassed that it was an on and off relationship. So I was pretty sure that my family was tired of hearing me like say I'm leaving, because I was tired of hearing myself say I'm leaving and not leaving and going back and just keeping the cycle going. So I knew I had to do something, and at the end, I ended up telling my mom. I moved in with my mom and my sister, and I didn't have a room. Like, I was living at their house, and it just felt like I felt so like, I'm like, this is where I ended up. Like, I could have had a home by now if I would have, like, I so many what ifs. What if I had ended this earlier? I would have already bought a house. I would have done all these things, and it was just a lot. It was a lot of disappointment on my end, on myself, and I felt down. I was very depressed. I didn't eat. I slept a lot. I cried a lot. And one thing that did help me in the whole breakup process was just disconnecting, going cold turkey, like blocking that person. I deleted mutual friends. That was one thing that was very hard for me because we had a ton of mutual friends because we ended up meeting at a workplace where I used to work, and so we had a lot of common friends. We met through friends, and I made, like, I mean, it was like a 6-year thing, so I made some friends that I've had for years, and I just couldn't have any connection with this person whatsoever. So I ended up deleting everybody. And I'm sorry if you guys are listening to this. Like, I don't know if I've talked about this on my toxic relationship episode because it's been so long. But I know I deleted a lot of you. And it was not because, like, I didn't want to be your friend, but I didn't want to be associated with anyone that had ties to this person. Because I felt like if that happened, it was going to drag me back in. I felt like I needed to do that for myself. It wasn't anything personal with those people, but I just needed to move on. And that helped a lot. So if you're getting over a breakup, I know it sounds extreme and we're all chismosos, so we want to know what's going on with everybody's life. But for you, if you have to unfollow some people, like the family, and do all that, like, even though, like, you know, some of the family was like really cool, like, I was just like, I need to go cold turkey and I need to delete. So I did. That helped me a lot because it just kept that person out of my radar, and it was easier to not think about it, even though that wasn't in my mind the whole time. I, of course, blocked my ex. I blocked him from every social media platform, from my phone, and also from my email, because yes, the emails came in too. And I blocked every email that I knew that that person owned, and it helped me so much because it would just go to spam. I think because my breakup was during the pandemic and most places were still closed, it was so hard to not think about. So I really had to grieve it. So give yourself that time to grieve. It's okay to grieve, but at some point you have to pick yourself back up. I think for 2 months I grieved. I cried everything I could, and I was not apologizing to anybody. Like, I would just cry. Like, because I needed to get it out of my system. I needed to cry as much as I could because when I kept it in, me sentía que me estaba ahogando. Like, I would feel like I was fucking suffocating in my emotions. And for me, letting it all out helped me so much because I was just like, there was no more tears to cry after I finished crying. I think 2 months. I lost so much weight and I just didn't find joy in anything. Like, I just felt bland. I lost. Super lost. Me pusieron en una island y me dejaron heartbroken. Slowly but surely, I started like going outside because we couldn't do much during the pandemic. Like, all I would do is go to work and like keep busy by like, you know, going to lunch with my coworkers or just having lunch together, keeping my mind busy where I didn't have to think of the breakup helped a lot. Little by little, I started like going on hikes and going on walks and just getting out in nature. Becoming one with nature helped me so much because you realize that your problems are so small. I spent a lot of time at the beach because that's the only thing I could really do, hiking and go to the beach. And I don't know, for some reason the ocean just makes you feel so small and makes you feel like there's so much to this world. Like, I don't even know where the ocean ends. I can't see the end of the ocean. It just goes on, and it sounds very like poetic, but that helped a lot because I was just like, why am I crying over this person that does not see what they have in front of them? Like, little by little, echándome porras and like talking to friends, and I wouldn't really open up to my mom or my sister because I felt like I was like, yeah, que, like, they already heard enough. But I here and there, like I would talk to them, but in reality, I just kind of like kept to myself. It was a really like self-love journey where I was just getting to know who I was because I lost my identity for so long and I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what Melina liked. I was used to being in a couple because when you're in a relationship, you're like a I know it sounds bad. This is bad. I will never do this ever again, but your personality becomes your relationship. Like everything you do is like with your partner because you like being with that person. And although like I'm not gonna sit here and bash that person and say like, oh, it was terrible all the time. It wasn't terrible all the time, but there was really terrible moments. There was a lot of happy moments too, but the bad outweighed the good. And I just kept thinking like, who am I? Because when I started that relationship, I was in my early 20s. Like I was a niña, like no sabía qué quería, estaba pendejita. I didn't have no life experience. I had life experience, but nothing with relationships, nothing with like hobbies, because at the time I was fresh out of college. And if you guys heard my episodes, if you've been following my whole podcast journey, you've heard that I didn't really have a college life. Like I just wanted to get out of college and I never had time for me. And once I got out of college, I was in that relationship and it was like a long-term one, so it took a lot of my 20s and I had to discover who I was again. Like, what do I like to do? Another thing that I did was I bought a journal, and when I was feeling sad or I was having a moment, I'd journal. I'd write down how I feel. There was times that I made lists of what were reasons why it was good to walk away, or what are qualities that I want in my future partner that I didn't get from that last relationship. And it just was so therapeutic to do that. It was also very important to develop a routine, make sure I got out of bed every morning, like get out of bed. I got out of the couch every morning because I didn't have a bed at the time, but I made sure to make my breakfast, like it just kept busy, like get my breakfast, journal. If I read, I would read, watch my favorite show, get out and go exercise and just make a routine and keep yourself busy. I also said yes to a lot of new things. Like, for example, I would go accept invitations from people that I usually wouldn't hang out with, or I went snowboarding and my family was like shocked because I'm always like the little, I don't want to get hurt, like I play it safe all the time. So I did things like that. So just finding new hobbies. Like if you haven't tried that Pilates class or that yoga class, like make yourself uncomfortable and try new things. The popular thing to do is like to get drunk and like forget about your ex, but that didn't work for me. The times that I did drink, I just felt more sad, and I would not recommend drinking when you're going through a breakup because it gets you in your feels. And I'm not much of a huge drinker. I do like my cocktails, but like in moderation. And just because I want the taste, not because I want to get drunk. Like my objective is never to get drunk. If I get there, okay. But if I'm doing it to like, oh yeah, like screw the relationship I was in, I'm gonna get drunk and forget about it. You're not gonna forget about it. If anything, it's just gonna make you feel like shit and you're gonna wake up the next day and still be sad. So I don't recommend self-medicating by drinking or doing whatever. Also, don't listen to people. Like everybody handles breakups a different way. And not the same method is not going to work for everybody. For me, just spending a lot of time alone helped me get over it. But some people need to be out, and that's okay. But personally, I feel like you really need to discover who you are and just love yourself, because you know, a relationship is a huge part of your life, and when you don't have that anymore, you're just trying to figure out what you want to do with life, or what are your new goals, or what's the next step that you're going to take in your life. I think that a lot of women, I don't know, I've never talked to any men that felt this way, but most women break up in their mind before they physically do it. And I am 100% positive that this happened to me. So I was kind of already mourning the relationship, and I know it sounds shitty, but I was trying to make it work so much the last year that I was in it, that I would be like, no, it's gonna get better and it's gonna get better. And it did get better, but then it got bad again. So I think I was just so checked out already that it was so easy for me to just walk away. And It's sad to say, but it's the truth. And because of that, I did start dating pretty fast. I think I started dating within like 3 months. And some people be like, you're not ready, you're not ready. And I wasn't ready to be like in a long-term relationship, but I was ready to go out on a date. I was ready to get treated nicely and to be wined and dined. And I didn't go with any intention of like, I'm gonna find a person and marry them, although I did encounter some of those. I just wanted to get out there again and see what the dating world is like. And it wasn't beautiful, but I met some amazing people. I met some shitty people. I realized what I want, what I don't want. I realized that I could be treated way better than I ever been treated in the relationship I was in. I met some very generous gentlemen that were not the best candidates, but they were nice in the beginning, and then they turned out to be jerks, but that's okay. I learned my lesson. I got love bombed for the first time, so now I feel like when I start dating again, because I've been so busy lately that I haven't really been doing any of that, but when I do, I know what to look for. And I think it's healthy to do that. Although it's like an unpopular opinion that people are like, oh my gosh, she's already dating. Who the fuck cares? Like, life is short. You were fine before you met this person, and you'll be fine after. I know in the beginning, it felt like my world was like over, but think about it. New people come into your life all the time. People leave, people come. Life is short. Like, you're gonna be mourning this person forever. No, you're not gonna do that, because life is way too short. And dating should be fun, because when you date different people, you take like one thing you like from each person and you're like, oh, I like this, and this is the quality that I want in my future partner, and I don't want them to be this way. And no one's gonna be perfect, but sometimes you know for sure it's not a match. So I think that when you keep dating, you get one step closer to like the person that is meant for you. So in conclusion, if you're going through a breakup, just make sure you prioritize yourself and do things that you can do to support yourself during this rough time. Give yourself space. If that means blocking people, then block them. Make sure you keep busy, get a routine going, take time out for you, do things that you find relaxing, like watching a movie, listening to music, going to watch your favorite sport. Talk to others, open up if that's what you do. If not, then journal and write all your emotions down. And if that doesn't work, then therapy is always great. Try not to use alcohol or drugs to deal with the pain, because you'll feel better for a second, but it's gonna come back. And give it time. It's an ongoing process of like healing and dealing, getting over a breakup. It doesn't happen overnight. You still like keep mourning that loss of that person. And make sure that you get your rest, because you need to physically feel good, and mentally and emotionally, of course. So on today's episode, I'll be doing a Big Six Advice segment. So I put up a website. I'll link it in the show notes if you want to leave a message and ask for advice. And you could submit it. Here's the first one.
Hello, Melina. So I need advice. I mentally checked out of my marriage. I got married in February. It was a rush just because of the pressure, our society, our culture, and I just felt so rushed into it. It was a civil wedding. It was 2/20/22, but he's a recovering alcoholic. He has a relapse. There's no respect. I just think I mentally checked out. I don't want to be intimate. I don't want him to touch me. I don't want to hug him. And that's not who I am. I just feel like when I am who I am, I can't be myself. So it's like anything I say is stupid. It's dumb. I'm just too sensitive. I just don't get it. I'll never understand. You know what I mean? I can't even say how I feel, because it always turns into an argument. So I rather just not. I feel alone. I escape at the gym. Thanks to your podcast too. That really helps me out. But I don't know what to do. What should I do? Should I work for it? Should I work harder? Or should I just throw in the towel? What do you suggest?
I hope you guys know that all my advice comes from what I would tell a close friend of mine if they were in the same situation, because I don't want you guys to like be like, oh, Melina said to do this, so I'm gonna go run and do it, because I'm not a therapist. I'm just someone with life experience and that has been through something similar like this. And I've been in this situation. In my last relationship that I just talked about in this whole episode, I felt this way. I felt like I couldn't say what I wanted to say because I was being too dramatic. I had too many emotions. I would always be told that I was treated like a princess when I was a child, so that's why I get sensitive about things when I would express myself and say like, "Hey, I felt like this was disrespectful," or anything I would express myself, it became an issue of me. And I also began to start questioning myself and thinking like, am I the problem? Am I the one that's being like this? And not to say that I had no fault in this relationship failing, because I did, because I allowed a lot of things to happen and certain behaviors developed because of the situation I was in. But if your partner is making you feel unheard, unseen, it's very difficult to fix that on your own, because it's just a pattern that continues. And if you guys haven't tried therapy, I suggest therapy. You guys know that's my biggest like solution for everything. When I asked my ex to go to therapy, he refused. He said we were fine and we could fix it on our own. And I knew that we needed someone else that wasn't in the relationship to help us delegate our issues. And he refused for so long, and after a while I convinced myself that we didn't need it because we were fine, and obviously we weren't, and it could have helped us, I don't know, but that person didn't want to do it. So not till the end, then they were like all about it. But I was already done and I was checked out, and it sounds like you're checked out as well. And I'm sorry that you felt the pressure to get married and do all that. And I hope it works out for you. But if you are feeling checked out and your fear is, ay, ¿qué va a decir la gente? Like, what are people gonna think? Like, don't think about that. Like, life is too fucking short. I know I sound like a broken record always with life is short and this and that, but it is. Like, why are you gonna sacrifice your happiness? If you're already unhappy at this moment and that person doesn't want to fix anything by like using help from somewhere else, and you both have to want to fix things in order for it to work. It can't just come from one person, and you can't feel guilty for feeling a certain way, because you can't hide your emotions, and you're gonna get resentment towards your partner, because that's what happened to me. I started resenting them, and I also started thinking, is this what my life is gonna be like? And I would get so upset when I would think of how my life is gonna be, forever fighting and forever unhappy and not getting what I wanted and not getting heard when I said something bothered me. And I just came to the conclusion that I couldn't live like this anymore, and I didn't want to. What I realized is that a partner should add value to your life. And if that person's not adding value to your life and they're just making you have more issues, then it's time to let go. But like I said, take my advice with a grain of salt. I am not an expert, and I hope that you figure out what truly makes you happy. And it's okay to think of yourself before you think of anybody else, because your happiness is what matters. You have to live with this for the rest of your life, and it's your choice on how you want to live. That's all I have for you guys today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Follow me at Unbreakable Latina on Instagram and TikTok, at Latina Podcast on Twitter, and go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Your reviews mean the world to me on Apple Podcasts, and your ratings. I know someone told me that Spotify doesn't let you do more than 4 stars on the podcast, but I believe it's because you already submitted 5 stars. So it won't take another 5-star review. So it probably did go through, because me and my sister were checking it out yesterday, and we came to the conclusion that if you move the stars to 4, it's because 5 was already marked before, so that was already submitted. So thank you to the person who told me that, but I'm pretty sure it's not broken. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.